The best flashlights you've ever reviewed, huh, Ben? Coming from the best survival and outdoor gear reviewer on YouTube, coming from a guy who's reviewed loads of flashlights and probably handled hundreds more, you would be correct, except for the part about me being the best gear reviewer. Psh, I wish. That's right, everyone. Today I'm going to show you what I feel is maybe the best flashlights that I've ever reviewed on the channel. Now keep in mind, flashlights, like any other piece of gear, are very specific. So if you want a flashlight that has a super tight beam and throws a long distance, spotlight type light, that's going to be a specialty type light. If you're going to put one on your keychain, that's going to be a specialty type light. Everything else in the middle falls, to me, to just a general utility, general EDC type light. It's going to vary depending on which battery you want to carry, but the lights that I have to show you today come in several different models, several different batteries you can use, but the functionality is there. And since I've been using these flashlights, I can't believe I haven't checked them out sooner. So let's just dive right in. This is the R series from Rofis, a brand that I hadn't heard of before getting my hands on these. I'm pleasantly surprised. Like I said, the R3 is probably the best flashlight that I've ever reviewed. So you've got the R1, the R2, and the R3. It really comes down to personal preference as to what battery type you like to use, as to what size flashlight you like to carry. And then again, these are more in the utility, everyday use category for me. They're not super throwers. They're not super floody, super bright, high beam flashlights. They're just general, everyday use flashlights. But once you see what they're capable of doing and how multi-purpose they are, I think you're going to agree these are some great lights. So other than a few differences such as the battery type, the brightness, and the form factor of these lights, they're all magnetically rechargeable, USB rechargeable. They all have the swivel head, which I find is fantastic. They all have a pocket clip. They all are similar in design. They all come with a lanyard, and they can all be used as a headlamp. Another great feature of these lights is that they come with the batteries included. So with the R1, you've got the 16340, the 14500 with the R2, and of course the 18650 with the R3. They all come with a lanyard. They all come with the magnetic charger, and they also all come with the headband strap. So again, you can use these as a headlight. So let's go through some of the individual characteristics of these lights. So starting here with the R1, you have the design that all three share. You've got some interesting characteristics here on the handle, also on the head there. This one has an XML2 U2 LED, perfectly centered, a perfect beam on this light. You can see in the night shots coming up and some of the wall shots. Again, the R1, this takes a 16340 battery, which is pretty similar to a CR123, which you can also use in this. If you want to get the peak brightness out of this light, you do have to use the 16340. On the back, you have a magnetic tail cap. You unscrew that to access your battery. Another nice feature on the inside here is that you have dual springs. You have a spring on this side, and then you also have a spring down towards the head there, and that's going to improve the durability should you drop the light. Now, when you screw the battery compartment back on, you're going to get a flash here of green light. If the green light stays on for 2 seconds, that lets you know that you are greater than 40% charged. If it stays on red, that's going to let you know that you're less than 40% charged. And if it flashes red, that lets you know that you're less than 10%. So it's time to charge the light. So nice to have that included. You get a pocket clip. Here is the magnetic charging head here. Again, just nice overall fit and finish. And then the beauty of these lights, or what I like the most, is that you can swivel the head. Now that is so useful in so many different ways. Not only can it be used as a headlamp, so you can pop off the clip here, and then you can slide it right into the supplied headlamp strap here and use it as a headlamp. Now I've already used these as headlamps. They work great. You can adjust it up and down, of course. The only con there is that the power button is on the inside. It's not on the end here. It'd be nice maybe if they flopped those around. I'm not sure they could do so, but if you had the charging port here and then possibly the button there, that might make a little more sense. It's not that big a deal because I don't often shine the light just straight out from my head. It's usually tilted down, you know, onto the subject that I'm looking at or reading. And of course, you know, it's not that big of a deal to access that button. So it's super cool that you can not only use this as a flashlight, you can not only use it as a headlamp, but it's so handy for getting into certain areas. I was running wires the other day, and it was so handy to be able to stick this in the wall or stick it in a crack, even to use the magnet to attach it to my ladder so I could shine the light where I wanted it. You could you know, attach this to a metal surface on your car, anywhere around the home where you have a metal surface. The power went out the other night. You know, we had this attached to the fridge, just shining down for some ambient light. So just a lot of different uses you can use these light for just by the fact that it has that swivel head. And you just twist it back and then it becomes a flashlight again. So in my opinion, that is just a super nice feature. Now I've seen lights that have the 90-degree head on them. You know, nothing wrong with those. The ones that I've seen that have swiveled have been very cheap feeling, you know, almost loose feeling. There is nothing cheap feeling about this. There's nothing loose. It's a very solid swivel, a very solid stop point when you hit the other end. So as far as operation goes, these lights are very straightforward as well. You simply just depress the button to turn it on, depress it again to turn it off. It's going to go back to the memory that you last had it on. If you want to get to your lowest mode, you can just hold it down. That goes into your Moonlight. And then if you want to go into your highest mode, you just double click and that'll get you into the turbo. Once the light is on, you simply just hold it down and it will cycle through your different brightness levels. So really straightforward. This one doesn't have the SOS or the strobe, so I'll show you that on the R2 and the R3, but very straightforward as far as operation goes. Now run times on this, it will run at the 0.5 Moonlight setting for 20 days, 10 lumens for 40 hours, 60 lumens for 7.5 hours, 300 lumens for just over an hour and 10 minutes, and the turbo 900 at 30 seconds before it steps back down. I believe it steps down to 300. Again, you're running a 16340 in here, so it is going to step down rather quickly, but to get 900 lumens out of something this size is pretty amazing. Let's jump on over to the R2. Again, same styling, same features, magnetic tail cap, USB recharge, same operation. The only difference here being the different light levels, and once you have the light on, you can triple click and that will put you into your strobe mode. Then you can hold it down and you've got an SOS. So a few special modes on the R2 and the R3. So the R2 starts again at 0.5 lumens. That's going to run for 125 hours, jumps up to 5 lumens for 43 hours, 90 lumens for 253 minutes, 300 lumens for 98 minutes, and then it's max at 700 for 3 minutes, and then it jumps down to 330 lumens. So you get the least amount of output out of the 14500. A 14500 is very similar to a AA battery. It's just rechargeable and got a little bit higher output on it. So same features, just different battery and different light levels. And again, you get your green light there letting you know that we're greater than 40% charged. Another nice thing about the R2 though is that you can use a AA battery in it. You can use a nickel metal hydrate battery in it, like an Eneloop or an Eneloop Pro. So the benefit there is that if you like to carry batteries or gear that are standard, that you could pick up pretty much at any corner store, any gas station, you may want to consider the R2 because it is possible for it to take a AA battery. Jumping up to my favorite of the bunch, the R3. This takes the 18650 battery, again with springs on both sides, magnetic tail cap, larger pocket clip there, the magnetic charging, and then of course the swivel head. Again, just amazing that you can swivel this back and forth from just using it as a standard flashlight, you know, something that'll slip down into the pocket of your kits, something that you could put, you know, in your pocket, but then you can transform it into a headlamp or transform it into a 90-degree light. With the R3, you have a little bit lower moonlight mode than you do on the other two. It starts at 0.25, which will run for 63 days, jumps up to 20 lumens for 83 hours, 230 lumens for 10.5 hours, 560 lumens for 205 minutes, and then jumps up to its brightest 1250, and that'll run for a minute before it steps down to 560 lumens. Operation, again, very straightforward. Simple on and off, goes back to the memorized position. When the light's on, you can cycle through the different brightness levels, double click for your turbo, and then once the light is off, you can hold it down to get into that moonlight. Now, one feature that they all have as well is a lockout feature. So with the light off, you can hold the button down and you're going to get a flash here, and that lets you know that the light is locked out. So since it has a side switch on it, you know, you don't want to be depressing that in your kit or in your pocket, so you can lock the light out. To reverse it, you simply just hold it down again till it flashes, and then you're back to normal operation. So all in all, just a fantastic light. It's a perfect size for me for everyday use, for utility style use. Even this one, once you put it on the headlamp strap, you know, isn't any bigger than, let's say, you know, some of the lights from Olight or ThruNite or Nikkor or Phoenix that have the larger 18650 headlamps. And again, having that ability to twist that head there and get into different surfaces or into different crevices, that just hands down won me over on this light. Like I said, I was running some wires, and it just came in so handy for all the different uses, whether I was wearing it on my head, whether I was just using it as a straight flashlight to search through the attic, or whether I was, you know, just setting it on a surface pointed in the direction I needed it, or of course using that magnet to again point it in the direction that I needed it. Charging is very straightforward as well. You don't have any covers to take off. You simply just attach the magnet here. You're going to get a indicator here indicating when it's fully charged. It'll go from red to green when it's fully charged. So whether you have the head swiveled like that, or you have the head swiveled in the standard flashlight position, you can charge the light. So very simple, very straightforward. This charging can also be done underwater. I don't know why you'd want to do that. One application I could see where you know it would be nice is I have a waterproof Goal Zero solar panel, so I could literally leave this outside in the elements, not have to worry about it, and it could get a charge from my solar panel. All right, so here we have some wall shots, the R1 on the left, R2, and then R3. Now, notice the R2 in the middle has a little bit cooler of a color temperature. The R1 and R3 are both neutral white, so I'm not sure if the R2 is a cooler white. It's not much cooler, but it certainly is a little bit higher probably on the Kelvin scale. No hot spots all the way up to the wall. The beam is just beautiful no matter where you're shining it. So my daughter Olivia is going to help me with the night shots here. We have the R1, the R2, and the R3. Let's look at their brightness levels. All right, starting with the R1, we have its lowest mode, 0.5 lumens. Great for inside a shelter, a tent, a hammock, or a bedroom. Not going to light much up, except the immediate perimeter. Next level up, we have 10 lumens. Very nice beam pattern all the way throughout the mode spacing on all of these lights. We can just barely light the trees up closest to us. Again, great light for your immediate area or inside a shelter. Next up, 60 lumens, and we're starting to get somewhere with the R1. We can light up the trees in front of us. Just barely touch those trees a little further away, and can't see too much of the field. But again, you can see that beam maintains its form all the way through these modes. On up to 300, no problem lighting the trees up in front of us, the area right in front of us. Now we can hit those trees to our right, no problem. And we can just start to see the field. Just creeping into the back of the field there. Can't quite hit the trees back there. On up to our turbo, our brightest, which is 900 lumens. You can see just how nice this light is. Perfect mix of spot and flood, especially in the neutral white. You can just start to hit those trees back there. We can see a lot of the field there, no problem with anything in our immediate area. And again, just a great looking light. All right, pretty much the same thing with the R2 on the Moonlight Mode. Can only see just right in front of you. Next level up is 5 lumens. Great for your immediate area or inside a shelter. Can't hit those trees right in front of us. So again, you need about 10 lumens to hit those trees, and we're just under at 5 lumens. Sort of a big jump on the R2. It goes from 5 lumens to 90 lumens. 90 lumens, we can certainly hit these trees. We can probably hit these trees a little bit, just start to see the field. Anywhere in that 100 to 300 lumen range is probably my favorite. Same nice beam as the R1 has. Next we go from 100 to 300. So a little bit of a jump there. Again, we can just start to see the field. Can certainly see these trees, immediate area. No problem. All right, on up to the R2's brightest mode, turbo mode at 700. A little bit less bright using the 14500 versus the 16340 of the R1. So not going to be a whole lot different than the 900 lumen max of the R1. Definitely a nice beam on this one as well. So the R3 has an even lower moonlight mode than the other two at 0.25 versus 0.5. Not much you're going to do with this amount of light, only in your immediate area. Then we jump up to 20 lumens. So with 20 lumens, we can light up a little more of those trees than we could with the 10 lumens. Not much else though, other than your immediate area. Again, a pretty big jump on this one. We go from 20 to 230. No problem lighting up these trees in front of us, the immediate area. We can hit the trees to our right, and we should be able to just start to light up that field. Then we go from 230 to 560. No problem right in front of us, no problem to the right, and we can just start to hit those trees in the background. Again, you have a pretty even mix of spot and flood with this light. So if it were a spottier 560, we'd be able to hit those trees. But a really good mix, really good color reproduction with the neutral white. An excellent beam. Then we jump up to the brightest setting on the R3, 1250 lumens. We can shine that entire field there. Hit those trees in the background. You can see it's raining. We've got a little bit of fog. So you can see the shape of the beam there. Very, very nice looking light. Very, very useful mode spacing, in my opinion. Great looking light as well. We can shine down that path, come over here and shine right out into the field. Those trees back there are probably a good couple 100 yards. Really, really happy with all 3 of these lights. So it really just comes down to personal preference. They all have great brightness modes. They all have great mode spacing. They all have perfect beams, in my opinion. You know, the R1 is great if you want a smaller light for pocketability or to put in a kit or to wear mainly as a headlamp. That light would work good for you. It runs a 16340 or a RCR CR 123. You jump up to the R2 again, popular battery there. You can use the 14500 rechargeable, but in a pinch you can also use a AA or a rechargeable AA, and it's still got a small form factor. Jumping up to the R3, my favorite light, maybe not the best to be worn as a headlamp, a little bit heavy, but nonetheless it's the brightest. It's got the, you know, the 18650, which is one of my favorite cells and a cell that I carry backups of. Again, it's the type of light, the type of size that I would use just for everyday use, for utility around the home. You know, a light that could go in the car, in the toolbox, in a kit, It just does so many things. And again, with that swivel head, it's just amazing how much you can get done between that and the magnetic base and the different configurations that you can run these lights in. So if you haven't already done so, go ahead and sign up for YouTube so that you can thumb up or thumb down this video, so that you can leave me that comment in the comment section below, and so that you can share this video to anybody who you might feel would be interested in these lights. I'm going to leave a link below to Amazon where you can pick one of these lights up. Again, it comes down to battery preference. For me though, that R3 is hard to beat, and yes, it might very well be the best flashlight that I've ever reviewed. Anything you guys purchase through my Amazon links does go a long way to help support the channel. And if you haven't done so, click that subscribe button and make sure your notifications are turned on to be notified of new videos.